Hello, everybody. It's Uncle John from Your Story Hour, and I'm bringing you one last chapter from the book Loony Coon. This is chapter 25, and it's the last chapter in the book. And I want to thank you for sticking with us as we have read all the accounts of Looney Coon's first spring, summer, and fall in the north woods of Wisconsin. I want to also thank everybody that dropped me a note, either by email or in the comments, about the animals that are living in the neighborhoods around your house. I really enjoyed listening to them. And now, let's get to chapter number 25, called Sweet Dreams. Winter slowly tightened its grip on the North Country. October was gone, and the first frosty days of November were at hand. Flights of wild geese frequented the sky. 54 of their wedge-shaped squadrons went by within sound range of our island in a single day. We heard them in the night, too, talking persistently in their strange tongue as they headed southward. Somewhere in this mass migration was Grandma Honker. A scribbled note came from Warden Ollie saying she had disappeared into the air one dawn. "Didn't see her go," Ollie wrote, "but I heard her squawking high over the cabin just after a big flight of geese went by. She's been so ornery I was hoping she would go, but now that she's gone, dogged if I ain't counting the days till spring when she comes back again. Well, anyway, Mike and I will have some peace now, so we'll gibber and jabber. But they act kinda lonesome too." We had our own problem of loneliness to handle. Sonia, Dorothy, and Dick had left for the city where school and work awaited them. We promised we would keep food at their cabin until the raccoons went into their winter sleep. Nothing can look emptier or lonelier than a woodland cabin boarded up for the winter. On our visits there, we completed our errand as quickly as possible and hurried away from the place. Sonia was happy at school, we heard. Almost daily she was called on to tell her little classmates something of her experiences in the North Woods. The names of Loony Coon, Big Boy, Andrea, Grandma Honker, Pestersome Pete, and the other animals were known throughout her school. A letter came from Dorothy. "You will receive a package soon," she said. "This is Sonia's idea. You may eat what it contains yourself or give it to Loony Coon as you wish. I predict he will get most of it. We had a wonderful summer. So many things happened it seems to us that years went by. I have never known Dick to be so happy before, and Sonia, she simply entered a paradise and stayed there. And I wish you could see me. As I write this, there is a cat asleep in my lap, a dog curled up against my feet, and our new canary bird is perched on my shoulder. All this and only one shiver. How am I doing?" The promised package arrived in due time, and it was an angel food cake. The jolting in the mail had pushed it out of shape somewhat, but it was still fresh and delicious. We shared it with the raccoons, but not as generously as Sonia would have desired. On Sonia's insistence, we sent them a regular bulletin of the happenings in our forest world. There was plenty to tell. One item of news Jenny sent by special delivery, knowing how it would please Sonia, was this: "Loony Coon and Andrea are pals once more," she wrote. "In fact, all babies and mothers are traveling and playing together again. The weaning period was over, and young animals had learned to take their living from the forest. This accomplished, Andrea and Lady no longer snarled and snapped at their offspring. We saw Loony Coon and Andrea wuzzling once more, and they sometimes played just as they had in early summer months. The first drowsy hours of their winter sleep were upon the coons. They moved about sluggishly and frequently took naps around the feeding area. On colder evenings they would gather in little clusters in protected places, helping to keep one another warm. Then came the days when it was difficult for us to go to and from our island. Ice formed across the lake, too thin to bear our weight and yet too thick to plow through with the boat. For several days we would chop our way through, but soon this was impossible and we had to live in town until the ice was thicker. Finally, winter reigned supreme over the forest. No longer did we hear the voices of geese overhead, and the coons came no more to the feeding stations. When we went to the island now, it was on snowshoes. The first blizzard of winter coated the north country with a blanket of ermine. The ice had thickened to such an extent automobiles could be safely driven across the lakes. Animal life was scarce in the forests. Deer retreated far back into the great swamps, there to yard and weather the winter. Bears were asleep. Once on a snowshoe hike, we came upon a bear den made under the upturned roots of a fallen tree. A thick drift of snow had gathered there, but out of a little vent came a tiny curl of vapor caused by the bruin's breathing. We knew it was best to not disturb him. To our feeding station came an ermine, the name given the weasel when he has his pure white coat on for winter. He was a beautiful creature and fed energetically on bones and suet we put out for him. While this little animal has a reputation of being a vicious killer, we found no evidence of the trait in the one before us. Squirrels and birds came within easy reach of him, and he made no move toward them. We found a number of places where raccoons were sleeping the winter away. Under a shed on our island, 6 were huddled together, and one of them we identified as Big Boy. Several other groups were located under neighboring cabins on the mainland. One day we chanced close to the hollow maple tree called Cooney Castle. We slipped out of our snowshoes and stepped up to the opening to look inside. There were 3 raccoons, fitted as snugly together as mosaic in a floor. One of them had a left ear that dropped against his head and a streak of white fur between his ears. "It's Loony Coon," Jenny cried excitedly. "He's made his winter home in the very tree where he was born. What news for Sonia?" "And that's Andrea with him," I added. "Likely the third one is another member of the family." "How sound asleep they are," Jenny said, studying them closely. "What do you suppose Loony Coon is dreaming right now?" "Oh, about angel food cakes and marshmallows," I suggested. "And watermelons and peanuts," Jenny added. "And screen doors to open and houses to ruin. And then new ways to worry Sonia, Dick, Dorothy, Jenny, and Sam," said Jenny. "And the time when the world is warm again. Spring is in the air, the waters flow once more, and he can search the shallows for crawfish and bloodsuckers." "Ugh!" Jenny shuddered. "I don't like them even in Looney's dream." Our toes tingled with the cold. It was time to move on. We took one more look at the somnolent raccoons. "Sleep on, pets," Jenny said. "Just don't dream about fishhooks and owls. When you feel spring shaking you by the shoulders, wash your faces and swim over to the island. We'll have breakfast ready and waiting for you." And the book ends with this one last picture of Loony Coon. All right. Thank you for reading with us. Make sure you leave us lots of notes. We love to hear from you. And we'll see you next time. Keep coming to Your Story Hour and listening to what we have to share. Bye-bye.